Are you ready for the truth? Bring it on!
In this present crisis, government is not the solution to our problem. Government is the problem.
Do you want the whole truth?
I don't think you're ready.
Governments don't control things. A government can't control the economy without controlling people.
It's Crane Durham's Nothing But Truth. Here comes the truth.
Good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are. We're glad you're here, right here on the AFR Talk Network. Crane Durham's Nothing But Truth. Nothing but truth. That's what we do. That's what we are for the next 90 minutes. Great to be with you. Thank you for those of you who are listening, watching Washington Watch with our good friend Tony Perkins, Family Research Council. Let's move to the hearings today. Did I jump right in? I think we're going to have to do that. Give you a quick preview of the show. We're going to be covering some of the hearing in the first segment. Some of the statements that proved to be at odds with the facts, with the truth of Kathleen Sebelius. Then we're going to be speaking to Arnold Allard, a reporter with Front Page Mag. He's a columnist with the New York Post, and you can catch his work at the Patriot Post as well. We're going to speak to him about the purge in the military that has been alleged by not only his work, but today's Investors Business Daily, the removal of certain members of the military and a swath of leaders associated with Benghazi. We'll get to that with Arnold Allard. Then we'll take your phone calls, your response to the hearings today, and your healthcare solutions. On the flip side of the hour, we will come back and have for you a few more clips from the hearings that you want to know about, that you'll need to know about. Now, of course, the news you need to know, want to know, and will know just by listening, locking it into AFR Talk is American Family News, onenewsnow.com. Then we will be joined by Ben Johnson, U.S. Bureau Chief, LifeSite News, on abortion, Obamacare, and the truth, as well as a decision in Texas regarding life. That is all ahead. Before we get there, I would encourage you to go to my Facebook page, Crane Durham's Nothing But Truth, American Family Radio, and like the page, chime in on what you're hearing, what you're seeing. Yeah, we do it all. And let me know what you think. Let's begin, though. Let's begin at the beginning. Sounds like I just get this picture of a guy walking into a classroom. All right, class. Well, that's not how it is. But this does impact you. Incidentally, yesterday, talked about the problems, what's happening, how we are in a crisis situation with this administration and the lack of credibility. We will talk more about that. There is a way to go about things. I don't want to give the impression that all is lost. In fact, this is a tremendous opportunity, as any crisis is. Oh, never let a crisis go to waste. Not if the crisis is caused and you want to fix the problem, not by exploiting it, but by actually putting forth solutions that some have a false narrative about. Those solutions. Okay, I'll get to that. But some possible good news, actually. Are you just spinning it? Being Pollyannish? No. But now to some other news, and this is Jay Carney trying to explain how you can keep your insurance if you want to under Obamacare, how that promise turned out to be a lie, got 4 Pinocchios to the Washington Post, yet Jay Carney finds a way to spin it yesterday. Roll it.
As the law says, and as the president made clear in the statements that you cite, if you had insurance coverage on the individual market when the Affordable Care Act was passed into law and you liked that plan and you wanted to stay on it even though it didn't meet the minimum standards that the Affordable Care Act would bring into place on January 1st, 2014, you can keep that coverage. You're grandfathered in. That plan and your association with it are grandfathered in perpetuity, not for a year, not for 5 years, but forever. But what is not the case is if your insurer basically threw you off that plan by telling you after a year or two that it was changing and said, here's your new option because your plan has changed, that new plan is grandfathered in, because how could that be? You can't grandfather in a plan in 2010 that didn't come into existence until 2012 or 2011.
Bottom line, they're blaming the insurance companies for complying with the law. That is what's happening. The grandfathering in, if there's a minor change of, and this is what people are finding, up to 14 billion people will find this. Some will receive subsidies. I think 6 million of those possibly will qualify. I'll get to that in a second. Bottom line, the insurance companies comply with the law, and when they do that, they change the plan, and what happens? Well, who's at fault? Well, the law made them change the plan because they have to comply with the mandatory agreements and minimum standards. That's what happened. So now what they're saying is, and they really believe you're this ripping stupid. Understand, nothing but truth here. Don't care if you're a Republican, Democrat. I do care, of course, if you know Jesus Christ as Savior, and I pray that you do. If you're here and you don't, great. Appreciate you coming to the table, and I hope, first and foremost, always, that you choose to become a believer in Jesus Christ and thereby accept him as your Lord and Savior. Back to the point. I don't care where you are on the political spectrum. I don't care if you've ever listened to talk radio, political talk radio, Christian worldview talk radio, Crane Durham's Nothing But Truth. I'm glad you're here right now, because what you are being told today and in the recent past, and recent past is the last 5 years, a lot of things have not been true. And you can agree or disagree with my solutions, but I don't think you like being lied to. And that's what's happening. So they think you're stupid enough to say the insurance company's to blame and the grandfathering in of the plan, and then you go look at the standards and you look if there's an increase of $5 or $1 in regard to, I believe that would be co-pays and premiums. And they're saying, hey, you know what? Insurance companies changed it because you required them with the minimum coverage. That's what's at play. Kathleen Sebelius, Health and Human Services Secretary, before the House Committee. And here's what she had to say today to Marsha Blackburn, who asked her about if the president was telling the truth when he said, if you have an insurance plan that you're happy with and you keep it, you can keep it. Was he telling the truth? Roll it.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Madam Secretary, before, during, and after the law was passed, the president kept saying, if you like your health care plan, you can keep it. So is he keeping his promise?
Yes, he is.
Okay. What do you say to the 300,000 people in Florida you just mentioned, or to the 28,000 in Tennessee that cannot get health insurance? Their plans are terminated. Is he keeping his promise to them?
Well, first of all, Congresswoman, they can get health insurance. They must be offered new plans.
Okay. Bottom line, that's really addressing what happened. First of all, no, it was not true. That's the first point. No, it is not true. That is the appropriate answer right then and there. Unfortunately, it was not the answer she gave. And once again, we're going back to that narrative. Here's another question. Hey, did the website ever crash? Obamacare website ever crash? Kathleen Sebelius today said no. Roll it.
May.
Yes, sir, because we were anxious to get the website up and running and functional, which we clearly have failed to do to date, although I would suggest the website has never crashed. It is functional, but at a very slow speed and very low reliability, and has continued to function. Having said that, they pared down some of the features, feeling that it would be better to load them in later.
Okay. Do you realize that it crashed actually when the hearings were taking place? That's a pretty tough thing to tough thing to take, you know. Oh no, it's never crashed, right? That's how ridiculous it is right now, folks. If one Congress, I don't know who it was, and by the way, I'm not a fan of the way the questions were asked today. I think the strategy was just awful. Quite frankly, I don't see a strategy, and I think when we're dealing with getting to the truth with limited amount of time and questions, and especially when you have the PR team for Obamacare, in essence, aiding and abetting the liars in the administration. I know that's harsh. I don't like calling people liars. I guess technically I'm a liar, right? Because I've lied before. You know, okay, let's say people who've lied about this particular program have not told the truth about this particular program, that being Obamacare, the takeover of 1/6 of our economy. Yes, yeah. And they did it through reconciliation. Little reminder, never convinced us. Never convinced us. Well, we had an election. Yeah, that's not a ringing endorsement of Obamacare. If you look at the polls, 70% support. I believe it's Rasmussen's this poll. 70% say we want to delay it a year. Nevertheless, we keep going. She says it didn't crash. That's really interesting. I mean, especially when somebody holds up and says, hey, it's offline, been offline. Okay? Big problems. And then we go to Linda Douglas in 2009 explaining how people are lying about the proposed Obamacare Affordable Care Act, the health care reform law. This is before it's passed. Here's someone on the Obama Truth Team going after, in August 2009, those who are making statements about Obamacare. Listen to what she cites. White House Communications Director, Deputy Communications Director. Listen to what she cites. This is just amazing. Roll it.
You know, the people who always try to scare people whenever you try to bring them health insurance reform are at it again. And they're taking sentences and phrases out of context and cobbling them together to leave a very false impression. The truth is that the president has been talking to the American people a lot about health insurance reform and what is at stake for them. So what happens is that because he's talking to the American people so much, there are people out there with a computer and a lot of free time, and they take a phrase here and there, they simply cherry pick and put it together and make it sound like he's saying something that he didn't really say. Now, for example, here's a clip that they probably won't show you.
Here's a guarantee that I've made. If you have insurance that you like, then you will be able to keep that insurance. If you've got a doctor that you like, you will be able to keep your doctor. Nobody is trying to change what works in the system. We are trying to change what doesn't work in the system.
And here's another one.
The public plan, I think, is an important tool to discipline insurance companies. What we've said is, under our proposal, let's have a system the same way that federal employees do, same way that members of Congress do, where we call it an exchange, but you can call it a marketplace, where essentially you've got a whole bunch of different plans. If you like your plan and you like your doctor, you won't have to do a thing. You keep your plan. You keep your doctor. If your employer is providing you good health insurance, terrific. We're not going to mess with it.
2009, August. By the way, the Federal Employees Health Benefits Program did offer choices. I'll get to that in a different way, and it was modeled. It wasn't modeled in the sense of what we're seeing today. That all said, that's what they told us before about and said about what we were saying then. Who told the truth? Oh, I think we did. Americans for Prosperity, Phil Kerpen, among others, who are responsible to out that piece of information. I don't know exactly where I got it from right now. I can't recall, but the point is I got it to Dave through a hat tip, and I'll give credit where credit's due. On the flip side, where credit's due, give credit where credit's due. An extraordinary columnist, reporter, Arnold Allard, will be with us. Military being purged, Obamacare in the courts, and the truth. Crane Durham's Nothing But Truth AFR Talk.